played so many Sega Genesis games, or I should say Mega Drive games, because I live in India and Mega Drive used to exist over here but very few people could afford it. I was that lucky kid that my dad bought a Sega Genesis for me because I used to play a lot of cricket and I used to go out and break people's windows by giving that helicopter shot with my cricket bat, you know. But surprisingly, Mega Drive do exist over here with the Brain Lara Cricket. It came out with it. And you know what? That game is not exist in this list. In this video, let's take a look at 10 extraordinary Sega Genesis games which define our childhood. But before doing that, do not forget to subscribe or hitting the bell icon because man, the inflation is rising. We gotta feed our kids, right? So come on man, don't forget to do that. Alright, let's get started. Shadow Dancer on Sega Genesis isn't just a good game, it's a hidden gem that throws into a league of its own. Released in 1990, it took everything great about side-scrolling action and cracked it up to the notch. Here's why Shadow Dancer deserves a spot in your Genesis collection. Firstly, the gameplay. The gameplay is tight and responsive. You control a swift ninja who slices and dices enemy with precision. Mastering throws, wall jumps, and acrobatic maneuvers is a key to conquering the game's demanding levels. But Shadow Dancer isn't just all about button smashing, it rewards strategic thinking. You have a loyal Kenan companion who can unleash on foes, adding another layer to the combat. Using your surroundings and well-timed attacks can be crucial as you take down waves of enemies. The level design is fantastic. Stages are varied and visually stunning, taking you from burning city scrapers to hunting graveyard. Each area throws a unique enemies and challenges your way, keeping the action really fresh. Speaking of enemies, Shadow Dancer boasts an impressive roster. You will face off against ninjas, gun-wielding thugs, and even monstrous bosses. Each enemy requires a different approach, making combat constantly engaging. But Shadow Dancer isn't just all about the thrills, the game oozes atmosphere. The soundtrack is a pulse-pounding mix of techno and traditional Japanese music, perfectly setting the mood for your ninja adventure. Let's not forget the challenge. Shadow Dancer is a tough nut on crack, so overcoming its difficulty is incredibly rewarding. Mastering the game makes you feel like a true shinobi warrior. Whether you are a seasoned gamer or a newcomer to the genre, Shadow Dancer on Sega Genesis is a must-have and a must-play in your collection. Batman the video game on Sega Genesis isn't just a licensed movie tie-in, it's a genuine gem for the 16-bit era. Sure, some might find the slow movement and tad clunky, but it captures the brooding atmosphere of Michael Keaton films very perfectly. With the game's shine and its variety, you're not just brawling thugs, you will pilot the Batmobiles through the thrilling chase sequence and soar through Gotham in the Batwing, blasting enemies with the Bat missiles. The level design is impressive, offering multiple paths and secrets to uncover. Let's not forget the soundtrack. It's dark, pulsating, and perfectly complements the action. Every punch and explosion feels like an impact thanks to the Genesis sound chip. Now the challenge can be brutal, but that's a part of the lore. Mastering Batman combats and gadgets is immensely satisfying. Beating a top stage after countless tries feels like a true victory. Batman the video game might not be a perfect game, but it's an unforgettable experience for any fan of the Caped Crusader. It delivers a true to the character experience with a tight controls, diverse gameplay, with an atmosphere that oozes the Batman. So just dust off your Genesis and prepare for a dark night. This is my favorite game on the Genesis so far. Valis isn't your typical Genesis romp, it throws a curveball transferring a seemingly ordinary schoolgirl, Yuko, into the fierce warrior Valis. This duality defines the experience. Yuko explores intricate environments, solving puzzles in a calm atmosphere, but danger triggers a transformation, unleashing Valis' brutal swordplay against a monstrous foes. This blend of action and light RPG elements is refreshing. The Genesis rarely sources dark fantasy. Towering gothic castles with detailed backgrounds and haunting soundtrack create an outwardly ambience. Combat is a revelation. Valis' attacks are fluid with unlockable weapons upgrades and added depth, mastering combos and magic spells to conquer challenging enemies immensely rewarding. While the Genesis often relieved on simpler narratives, Valis boasts a surprising complex story. Cryptic messages and environmental details hint in a grand total of ancient pacts and demonic entities. Piecing together this fragmented story adds another layer to the impressive experience. Valis secured its place to an extraordinary title on the Sega Genesis library, leaving a lasting impression on any gamer who dares to enter to this realm. Jurassic Park Rampage Edition isn't your typical Sega Genesis game. It throws you headfirst into a thrilling action-adventure unlike any other. Dr. Grant navigates treacherous jungles as a top-down shooter, Rapture chases after side-scrolling frenzy as you evade capture, and even Velociraptor hunting lets you stalk prey with a unique isometric perspective. This variety keeps the gameplay fresh and exciting. The graphics do a commendable job portraying the park's majesty and the dinosaur's terrifying presence. While the side-scrolling section might feel familiar, the isometric rapture hunting sequences adds a refreshing twist. Ammo scarcity and unforgiving enemy placement can lead to the frustrating moments, but overcoming these obstacles feels rewarding. For its unique blended perspectives, pulse-pounding action, and iconic Jurassic Park atmosphere, Rampage Edition stands out among the Genesis title. It captures the essence of film's thrills and chills, offering a challenging yet rewarding adventure for gamers seeking a fresh and exciting experience. Buckle up for a genre-bending adventure in Comic Zone, a Sega Genesis gem that throws us right into a planet of comic book. You play as a sketch turner, an artist pulled into his own creation to battle the villainous Mortis. This isn't just a visual treat, gameplay cleverly interacts with the comic book, panel shifts, explodes, and even crumple under your feet, creating dynamic obstacles and strategic opportunities. Comic Zone isn't just a walk in a park or a comic book store. Enemies relentlessly attack, requiring a strategic use of sketch fist, power-ups, and even comic book environment itself. While the core is a beat-em-up brawling, Comic Zone throws into the curveball to keep things exciting. You will encounter light puzzle-solving moments like manipulating panels to create pathways, the boss fights that are visually stunning as they are brutally challenging. The soundtrack is pumping mix of rock and techno and perfectly complementing the high-octane action. Comic Zone might not be the longest game, but its innovative concept and tight gameplay leaves a lasting impression. It's a love letter to the comic books and a unique action experience that are true standout for the Sega Genesis library. Doraemon, Yume Dorobō no 7 no Gozansu might not be the household name, but for Sega Genesis fans yearning for a charming platformer, it's a hidden gem. Based on beloved Doraemon franchise, the game throws you into the whimsical adventure to rescue stolen dreams. You control Doraemon, a gadget-wielding robotic cat, navigating vibrantly colored dreamscapes filled with quirky enemies. While the core gameplay is classic side-scrolling action, Doraemon's arsenal of gadgets keeps the things fresh. Mastering these gadgets becomes key to navigating clearly designed levels. Each dream world boasts a unique theme, from a candy-coated wonderland to the Wild West showdown. The catchy soundtrack perfectly complements the whimsical visuals, keeping your toes tapping as you explore. While the difficulty is fair, strategically using gadgets and mastering jumps adds a surprise layer of the depth. Beyond the core platforming, the gameplay throws a delightful mini-games that test your reflexes and timing. Doraemon Yume Dorobō no 7 no Gozansu offers a delightful and polished platforming experience for Sega Genesis enthusiasts. It's a love letter to the Doraemon universe, bringing to the color, charm, and clear level design. Whether you are a long-time fan or simply seeking a cheerful adventure, this hidden gem is sure to put some smile on your face. Mystical Fighter stands out on a Sega Genesis, offering a unique twist on the beat-em-up genre with a heavy dose of kabuki flair. You control White Lion, a lone warrior clad in flamboyant kabuki attire, tasked with battling through the underworld. While the core gameplay of punching and kicking enemies remain familiar, Mystical Fighter injects excitement with its focus on the magical combat. Unlike most brawlers, White Lion relies on strategically unleashing elemental spells along with his martial arts skills. As you defeat enemies, White Lion gains capsules, allowing him to level up to unlock more powerful spells. I played this game for the first time, and man, I like how you can grab the enemies and wibble wobble them. Like, it's so crazy. The soundtrack of this game is based on traditional Japanese theme with a techno mix. If you are really into Streets of Rage 2 and if you like a beat 'em up genre, then you should definitely check this game out. It's such a great game. Tiny Toon Adventures Busted Hidden Treasure isn't just another licensed game on the Sega Genesis. It's a gem that captures the maniac energy and humor of cartoon while offering the tight platforming action. You control Buster Bunny, everyone's favorite basically rabbit, on a conquest to foil Montana's Max treasure hunt and rescue Babs. The gameplay is classic side-scrolling with a twist, finding Gogoro in each level and unlock portals to the wacky bonus stages. Tiny Toon Adventures isn't just a brutally difficult game, but it offers a satisfying challenging. Mastering all wall jumps and navigating tricky enemy placements feels rewarding. This game is a love letter to the cartoon, offering a delightful platforming experience to all the gamers for all ages. It's a polished, charming, and chaotically for fun adventure. Proves licensed games can be extraordinary. Castlevania Bloodlines sinks its fangs deep into the Sega Genesis library, offering a standout entry in the classic franchise. Step into the shoes of not just one, but two Belmont clan vampire hunters, the whip-wielding John Morris and acrobatic Eric Licarde. Each boasts unique combat styles, with John favoring powerful long-range attacks and Eric excelling in acrobatic maneuvers and close-quarter strikes. This choice adds a replayability. Bloodlines do pushes the Genesis hardware, boasting detailed gothic environments, teeming with the creepy monsters. From crumbling castles to clockwork laboratories, each stage oozes atmosphere. Further accentuated by hunting beautiful soundtrack that perfectly captures the CD's signature dark orchestral style. While challenging, Bloodlines rewards skill play, mastering enemy patterns, strategically using sub-weapons, and exploiting each character's strengths are key to overcoming the nightmarish hordes. Castlevania Bloodlines stands out as an extraordinary title on the Sega Genesis. Its beautiful visuals, haunting atmosphere, fantastic soundtrack, and innovation dual character system with branching paths solidify its place as a must-play for both Castlevania veterans and newcomers seeking for a thrilling gothic adventure. Contra Hard Corps cranks the action on Sega Genesis to 11, delivering a punishing yet exhilarating run-and-gun experience. Shedding the traditional two-player format, you control the lone soldier, prowling your way through the dystopian cityscape overrun by the cyborgs and alien threats. The gameplay retains the series, for blasting enemies with a variety of over-the-top weapons and performing acrobatic maneuvers. The difficulty is notorious, but not without the reason. Enemies are relentless, stages are crazy, and death comes swiftly. However, this brutality fosters a sense of mastery, learning every enemy patterns, mastering the grappling hook, and strategically deploying your limited continues becomes a badge of honor. Hard Corps isn't just about the twitch reflexes. The multiple ending based on your performance adds a layer of replayability, pushing you to explore every corner and experiment with the different approaches. The soundtrack is a pulse-pounding masterpiece, perfectly complementing the frantic action with driving techno and heavy metal beats. Its tight controls, innovative grappling hook mechanic, multiple endings, face-melting soundtrack solidify its place as an extraordinary title on the Sega Genesis library. A true test of skill for hardcore run-and-gun enthusiasts. Do play this game, you will love it. These were some extraordinary Sega Genesis games which I think they deserve all the love. Now I know you will be like, this list is trash, where's Streets of Rage? I'm sorry guys, but I'm not hyena, repeating and making the same thing over and over again. I'm here to show you the newness into the retro gaming community. If you like this episode, then do check out my other episodes at the same time. You can participate on my live streams too. Thank you so much for watching.